Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Geeks Talking. As you already know, Two Geeks Talking is an entertainment interview show that interviews creative people from the comics, film, TV, music, and video game industries. And I'm your host, Melissa McLean, and we're on episode 351, talking with Bryan Estepa, and he's a musician from Sydney, Australia. And we're going to get right on our way here. So I'm going to start you off with something a little bit maybe abstract and kind of funny, but what does music mean to you?
Music means comfort to me. I think mostly.
Comfort?
So yeah, it's. I think whenever I'm in some sort of happy, crappy, or in between state of mind, I always seem to either listen to music or something pops up in my head, a lyric or it's a comfort factor.
Yeah, definitely. Fills in the gaps of the crappiness.
I think that's what it is for me. It's a security blanket, and it's been the constant in my life in my 35 years of existence. So yeah.
I really like that metaphor of security blanket. I would definitely agree with that for sure.
Cool.
So I'm interested. How did you get started in this? How did you decide that this is what I want to do?
Well, I've always been exposed to music growing up. I grew up in Manila, in the Philippines, and so I'm been raised in Australia, but I spent my first 8 years of life in the Philippines, so it's all very clear to me. So the American music culture is prevalent there in the Philippines, and it's everywhere basically. And so I grew up listening to ABBA, the Carpenters, James Taylor, the Beatles. So yeah, those things that are good for the soul, and it infiltrated my little psyche really early on. And my mum plays guitar, my uncles play guitar, so I was always surrounded by music, and I pretty much couldn't escape it. So to me, that's the root of it all. I think it always comes from of your growing up, I guess. So.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm curious, what was your first gig like? Like, where was it? What kind of feelings did you have about it? Was it good?
My first gig?
Yeah.
The one I can clearly remember was I was 9 years old or 10 years old. It was my first.
Wow.
Yeah, no, Paul, let me get to it. So I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I've only been in Australia for a year, and we have these things called school fates. I don't know what the you're Canadian, right? You guys from Canada?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not sure what the North American equivalent is to a fete. I guess it's like I don't know, a fair or a state fair, maybe on a smaller scale. But imagine it just within the school or the community. Anyway, so my teachers found out that I can sing La Bamba. So some people and the famous song La Bamba, which everyone seems to mess up the words in. It's in Spanish. I could sing it, and they made me sing it in front of the whole school. So I did a karaoke version of it. Because I'm little and I still am, they stuck me in a little crate, and they gave me a mic, and away I sang, and it was really it was good. I remember it was the first time I realized you can have attention just with your voice or being on some sort of platform. So I think that was the thing I remember the most, that I actually grabbed people's attention, whether I was good or whether I was shit. It didn't really matter. I was on a podium, and they looked and they listened. For those 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, I had no choice. So yeah, so that's what I remember. My first was it's the first time I actually thought about that. So it's kind of empowering, thinking about it now for the first time.
Well, I don't know how many artists get their start that early, so I mean, like, that's pretty impressive. And
yeah,
La Bamba, that's pretty memorable. So kind of along those lines of, progression and things like that. Who would you define as your musical influences, or who have been your musical influences so far?
Sure. Well, the Beatles are always going to be a constant. They're the beginning and end for me. So everything that I do has some sort of. I've always think, what would the Beatles do? Well, not all the time, but that's my bar anyway. So the Beatles. So that's the early stuff like the Bee Gees, James Taylor, the Eagles. Sort of that, again, that classic AM radio that I grew up on. So that's my influences growing up, and still is. But I was a teen during the 90s, so obviously I was right. Before we got online, I was actually listening to Green Day's Dookie. That album. It's 20 years. Yeah, it's 20 years this year. It freaked me out because I was when that album came out, I think I was 14 or 15. So growing up that age in the 90s, I pretty much grew up on, Pearl Jam, Smashing Pumpkins, Rage Against the Machine, Metallica. So all that stuff that, a lot of that stuff defined my teenage years. But at the same time, I was listening to, like I said, the Beatles. I was listening to the Hollies. I was listening to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So
That's nice.
Yeah, so just a really big mix, and around that time too, dance music started to really kick in as well. So I was exposed to, Chemical Brothers, Underworld, those really cool, Spiral Carpets, that kind of bands, and so it was a really great time. Cheesy things like Boyz II Men and all these kind of things. So it was just a fruit salad bowl, really, of musical influences growing up.
Yeah, that's awesome to be exposed to that kind of eclecticism. Like you said, kind of like a big fruit salad of everything. I mean, it's kind of cool to draw upon all those different influences. So
it keeps it from being stale, I think.
Sorry?
It keeps things from being stale to me, and it doesn't get boring. So I don't just listen to the one style music all the time.
Exactly.
I love primarily guitar-based music. I can listen to hip hop just as much, sort of thing. So.
Yeah, I really personally appreciate that, just because I feel like a lot of people, kind of stick within their own genre and tend to kind of discriminate against other genres, like, oh, country music is crap, or oh, I don't like hip hop, or I don't like rap. And so I think there's something to be said for kind of putting on all those different kinds of things and meshing it all into one big ball of awesomeness.
Look, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with disliking things or hating things, but I think and I've got lots of friends that love Nickelback. I can't explain why they like Nickelback. I don't want to know, but it against that kind of music. Obviously, has some sort of effect on them. Whether it brings out their aggression or they just love that sort of anthemic stadium rock. It doesn't really matter. The fact that it moved them in some way, and I think the way that Nickelback moves them is probably the same way that a Patsy Cline record might move me. So to me, there's really no difference to that, So, but again, but we have the right to hate.
I think that's a really valid point. I mean, poor Nickelback, they just get a bad rap. And I think there was somebody said, like, I mean, if it moves you, and that's that's good for you personally. So.
That was my Canadian tie, by the way. So.
I saw that. I appreciate it.
That? Actually, I've got a Canadian story. So do you know the band Sloan?
Sloan?
Yeah, have you heard of them?
I know I've heard of them, but I don't think I've ever actually heard anything from them.
In the 90s and noughties.
Okay.
They're my favorite. They're from Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And I remember I went to Toronto for 3 days back in 2000 just so I can find their records. Back in the day before now, you can go online, buy it on iTunes, go on some website and you'll be in the door in 3 days. I actually went from Sydney. Well, I'm lying. I was actually in New York. I went from New York to Toronto just to find these guys' records, and so Sloan, they're my favorite Canadian band.
That's quite an epic quest. So
it was amazing. Trawling record stores, and that's how I did. That's how I got to know Toronto, because I had to walk the streets and find these record stores. And
that's amazing. So, oh sorry. We kind of already touched on this, but like, was there a defining moment for you of when you knew you wanted to do this, not just as like a hobby, but as something that you wanted to do all the time?
Sure. Probably a few. There was, again, when I played my first proper gig with the first band I had. We were called Psychedelic Fuzz. Terrible name. And the first original song I wrote, we played there, and we played it to in a talent quest, and we went really well. And I go, oh wow, it's actually fun. It's actually good. And I kept writing after that. And being in a band is just so much fun. So that's when I realized. Again, it all started with no career views or perspectives. It's like, shit, this is really fun. I love just playing really loud and making a mess, playing the wrong chords. So that was really good, and I really enjoyed that part. And then obviously I got better at writing songs, and a few more people were actually wanting to hear my songs. So I think just when I realized there was actually a small audience ready to listen and pay attention to my songs, that's when I think I'm going to keep this going, because it's what I love to do. I like writing songs, I like playing. So yeah, that was pretty much it when I just realized I had some sort of talent that I didn't really want to waste it, to be honest. So.
No, definitely. That's definitely. Did you ever, when you first made this kind of decision, did you ever imagine that it would go as far as you have so far?
Yes and no. I mean, like I said, I've never had any. There was one point where every teenage person has lofty ambitions of being a rock star. So there were points. Forbid make a living, but it's not going to happen. So it wasn't. You make a little bit of money, but really everything gets poured back into the music and what you do. But when I realized how much I enjoy just making records and playing live, that's enough of a drug for me to keep going. So that's all. It's all around. It's just you can't stop. If you're really into something, you might stop for a short period of time, but something's gonna bite your ass, and you're gonna want. You're gonna want to do it again, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, what's your favorite thing about being a musician?
Getting to jam with other musicians, getting to play. I've been lucky. I've played with the Sydney scene, for example. There's some unbelievable talent within Sydney, and as an example, Gaudier, he's one of the biggest acts in the world right now. He's a local boy. You probably wouldn't have thought some guy from in Sydney make it that. That's the example circle of musicians here in Sydney, especially my little circle, and a lot of them have been kind enough to play in my band, really for hugs and beers. So, that's what I love. I love that's my favorite part of being a musician, being able to create music with these friends of mine, and I reciprocated hopefully and do the same thing with them. There's nothing better than getting a song together with these guys.
Yeah.
Actually, so I can't wait for that. So this is a good way to get pumped up for the show. So.
Totally, hugs and beers all around. So.
Cheers, currency.
Is there a least favorite aspect to being a musician? Is there something that you don't really, not too fond of?
The cost of it. That's probably the only thing. It's not a cheap pastime if you can call it. You know, it's not a cheap thing to keep going because, you know, I'm a solo artist, so, you know, you have to pay people and, you know, recording costs and instruments, and I know it's part and parcel of any job, but that's the only thing, because not a lot of money comes in. You take more money out. So you'll spend $15,000 and then a day later it's all over the interwebs for you to download for free or illegally. So those are just some of the little things. I don't feel there's enough of that monetary return. Just, you know, or
Yeah.
but the flip side is that, you know, you've created this music. You're gonna be your friends. You've written a song that you really enjoy playing and want to play. Oh look, the sun's coming. Sorry, it's 11 o'clock here, 11:20. So the sun's just coming out. It's good sign. Yeah, so that's the only part I don't enjoy. Just having to spend so much to keep up my job or my love, sort of.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, that is a side effect of being a musician and the times that we live in, unfortunately. But
it'll be nice to get paid a little bit more during gigs, but you know, it's not always. It doesn't always happen.
Yeah. If you could dabble in another genre of music, what genre do you think? What genre would you like to pursue?
I want to be an R&B singer.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. No, well, I've always wanted to do, and my last producer was R&B. So in my drunken fantasy that I'm an R&B singer, but I'm incognito. You won't know what I look like, but I'm just this voice, and I'm doing an R&B album. It's pretty bad, but yeah. I like soul and R&B, so it's. But yeah, that's
awesome.
Sorry.
I love it. It's awesome. I would love to see if you feel like pursuing that someday. I would love to see the result of that.
I'm Filipino. R&B's in our blood, so I think that's why, you know.
Totally.
But yeah, that's probably a more realistic thing, if I can dabble in to one day. But besides that, I feel like I've dabbled in a lot of different genres of music anyway over these past years I've been playing. So, but yeah, that's one that I haven't quite done yet. But me and my producer have secret talks. Might just happen. Might just happen.
So, do you have a dream collaborator of like another artist that you would want to work with? I know you mentioned collaboration as being an important part of being a musician, but is there somebody that you'd like to specifically work with?
Yeah, I'd love to work with Josh Rouse. Josh Rouse is this is an American singer-songwriter out of Nashville.
Okay.
But he now lives in Spain, and he's a great singer-songwriter. Someone, you know, whoever's watching this can seek him out because he's an amazing songwriter. And I think we just have the same sort of songwriting sensibilities, and I'd love to work with him. And you know, and primarily mainly because I'm a massive fan. So yeah, one guy I'd like to work with. I have this dream of getting up on stage with Paul McCartney, who's my god. So that's one collaboration I can keep dreaming about. But yeah, I just fancy, play, you know, when he play Let It Be or He's You, and I put my hand up along with 20,000 other people, and I get up on stage and then I jam and I cry for a week. So.
Well, that's a pretty epic undertaking. So
even not so.
Mm-hmm. So okay, you mentioned Josh, but do you have any other like favorite artists at the moment? People that you're listening to?
Right now, yeah, I've who's the recent one I've listened to? I'm trying to think. I love Haim right now. Have you heard of Haim? They're an American three-piece girl band, sort of mixing sort of 70s sunny pop sort of Fleetwood Mac style with more with some electronica. So that's sort of the new stuff I'm kind of digging right now.
That sounds really interesting. I haven't heard of that. But
yeah. I think it's Haim. Haim. Yeah, 3 girls, young 3 sisters actually. So I'm really liking. Yeah. I'm really liking their stuff right now. So what am I listening to lately? Australian band called Halfway just released a new album, which I really love. But I'm just really listening to a lot of old stuff. I'm in a country zone right now, so probably it's just here in Australia. So just lately, I'm sort of falling in love with female country artists. So old female country artists, probably dead some of them. But
the jazz.
Yeah.
People.
Oh, and Jason Isbell, this American American singer-songwriter, used to be in a band called Drive-By Truckers, and he's bloody amazing, great songwriter, and yeah, I've been listening to him a lot. So yeah, country.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
I saw recently that you did Folk in a Box.
Yes.
Do you want to kind of talk about that? That seems like it would be a really kind of funny kind of gig to do. How was that experience?
It was amazing. So this thing started in London. They were doing it in Hyde Park and in festivals up there. So it's essentially a box. It's a box, really. It's a really small where you can fit literally 2-3 people maximum. So I had no idea what it was about. All I knew was that you're playing to someone one-on-one. So I thought it was a room where you go in there and you're literally like what we're doing now, and I'm playing to you. But instead, they open up. It's like you open the second door, you open it up, you go inside, and it's dark. It's complete darkness except for a little LED light just behind me. So you can't see. So people will lined up, and they'll walk in, and you literally don't know who you're playing to. You can't see them. You can hear each other. If the phone rings, you might see a flicker of their face, but you can only see them as they walk in. So you make a judgment based on who you see coming in. You sort of make a judgment on what you're going to play, what you're going to do, and they're just excited that they could be hearing anything. And it's really, and then the doors close, and it's complete darkness, and it's just your voices, my guitar, and it's the most fucking intense thing I've ever done in my life in terms of just raw performance. Because you don't know. You can't know. You got no set list. You can't see anything. You can't really presume what you're going to do first. So you just sort of go with whatever your gut tells you or your heart tells you to play.
Yeah.
It was really full on. It was really full on. Some of the songs got emotional. Some there was some crying, maybe from both ends. And there was a woman from Oregon. She was visiting Australia, and she came in and we sang, and it was just a really emotional. It was intense. That's probably the most emotionally intense gig, and it lasts for half an hour, and you play to about 6 to 7 people or 8 or whatever.
Yeah. And
in the end, you're just drained.
Wow.
Both of you. And some covers or whatever. But it was so much fun, but intense.
Is it difficult to play guitar in the dark, or I guess if you've been playing for all the time, maybe it's not so bad?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, only if some songs I needed a capo to use, for example, and I couldn't see where the bloody frets were, so that made it hard.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was fine. It was it was fine. It was just you're like in your own world, and nothing else really exists but your voice and their voices and your songs. So, from a song point of view, I'll do it again. Hopefully it happens again. If you get a chance, if you see it, I'd be part of the audience. It'll blow my mind. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I love like the concept of that, of like the folk in a box. I've never heard of it before, but like I don't know. Maybe I might like try and get something started like that over here, because I mean that sounds really, again, like you said, like really intense kind of experience. So.
Well, it's very anonymous too, because you don't know the person, and at the end they actually write you a note, and they just stick on the wall. They stick on the wall of the box. So some funny ones, got some really, really emotional ones, but it's so good. It's so good.
I saw again. When I was doing my research, I saw that your album Heart versus Mind got released on vinyl in addition to, I guess, traditional CD release.
You got released on one of these bad boys. You see that?
Oh, that's nice. That's lovely.
Yeah, vinyl, old school.
I'm kind of getting. I found my stepdad's record player in our basement, and as I brought it up, and I started going to flea markets and purchasing vinyl and stuff like that. I'm interested to know.
So good?
Sorry?
Isn't that so good to go to a flea market and try and find records?
It's so fantastic. But I was interested to know, so was that an important choice for you for it to be released on vinyl as well?
Yeah, it was. It was. I've always in the back of my head. Look, for the last maybe couple of years, the vinyl was essentially non-existent. A lot of the kids wouldn't know what the vinyl is, but the last sort of decade. But then the last 3 or 4 years has been a resurgence again. So I realized I've always wanted to release something on vinyl, but then I realized it's more viable the last couple of years because it's actually people want to buy it, and it's not just a hit. It's not just a hipster thing as much as some dicks want to make it as it is. It's the whole point of having something on vinyl. Besides the fact it looks amazing, the packaging looks good. You can't be open-minded, but I mean, I can grab I can grab something like this. It's a vinyl, and you can open it up, and the way you'd look at a CD, you'd pull things out, you'd read the liner notes, and that's what's exciting. And that discovery of listening, because now we just download everything, put everything on MP3, put on our iPod, and it's over. But then this one, it feels like it's discovery. There's the smell, especially have you noticed that smell? There's a smell of old records, and then you put it on, and hopefully you got a decent player, and it sounds amazing, crackling and all,
Yeah, the crackling is part of the whole experience. Again, it's not even just a song. It's an experience. It's like a musical adventure through.
And I think when you turn the record over, I think it forces you to listen too.
Exactly. I definitely I 100% agree. So. Yeah, this whole thing with vinyl coming back. What do you think about that? Do you think that this is that's going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, there were some figures just recently vinyl, so that's huge. Considering CD sales are dropping down, people are starting to find another alternative, and look, they're not cheap to make, and I've had to put digital downloads with a digital download card with the vinyl just to give it that modern, that modern twist to it too, so people can still do the old school downloading straight into their computer. But I think it's gonna stay, hopefully, and hopefully, and what that does too, I think it hopefully will make people discover the older, to seek out, to go in there and find some old Beatles record, some old Stones or Graham Parsons record, and it just gives you that buzz and excitement about, getting music. It's freely available to us, and we can just go to some website, grab it, and there's no. I think you forget that there's actual heart and soul that went into making that little not some disposable thing. There's actually life behind it, and I think having a vinyl just adds to that a little bit. It brings it back a little bit because you're forced to, not forced, but you want to pull it out and have a look. You the people that played on it. There's actually pictures of people making this record, and I love that. And I made sure I had those things in my record package.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really appreciate the fact that, again, a fellow appreciator of vinyl is always nice to meet. So.
What was the last thing you bought?
Sorry?
What was the last record that you purchased in the flea market?
I believe it was. I'm pretty sure it was a double album of Billie Holiday.
Oh, wow.
Your greatest
Nice.
hits. Yeah, it was kind of an impulse buy, but like when I brought it home and listened to it, like amazing, phenomenal,
Yeah.
fantastic. So I'm
Was
looking
it?
forward to expanding my collection a little bit more soon.
Yeah. Well, the other day when in the flea market, my wife's favorite musical is Porgy and Bess. In the flea market too, and I found an original cast recording of Porgy and Bess, and I just freaked out, it cost me $1.
Yeah, that's the best part. Like,
So cheap.
yeah, just random like treasures that you just find that no one else either like someone else either doesn't know the value or appreciate the value or whatever, and you get to find it and you have this awesome story behind it, and I don't know, just flea market. I love flea markets, but
Yeah. Well, I'm here to stay, Melissa. I think it's here to stay.
So I kind of developed. I don't know if you've seen Inside the Actor's Studio. I developed a kind of speed round of like random questions that don't really relate to music necessarily, but are just random and entertaining because I like that. So, what is your favorite word?
Jeez, come on. I use damn a lot lately, so yeah. Damn, I guess.
Sorry?
Damn. I go damn.
Damn.
I say a lot. Yeah, that's my favorite word lately. And a swear word, but I won't go into it. So.
All right. Pet peeve. What is your pet peeve?
People rubbing my head. Find it patronizing.
Does that happen often?
No, it doesn't happen often, but I've had some people do it, or a slight pat. I just don't like anything patronizing. So yeah.
Yeah, I could see that being a little bit patronizing. That's interesting. Favorite sea creature?
Sea creature.
Yeah.
Crabs. I like eating crabs. It's crabs. It's a good question.
I don't think crabs are like. I think that I could deal with like a dead crab, but I think a live crab would just freak me out too much. With that.
Voice also fixed that, so.
Yeah. If you could be a kitchen appliance, what kitchen appliance would you be?
A tongs.
Tongs,
A tongs, what do you call it? Helps you pick things up. We call it.
Okay. Why would you be tongs?
Yeah. Oh well, I'm handy, I'm easy to use. So
That's an awesome explanation. What's your favorite clothing item and why?
Clothing item. I've got a vest which I like wearing a lot. It's like this. It looks like comes straight out of the '70s brown. Actually, it was actually my dad's vest. So I seem to find any opportunity, gigging wise, to going out to wear it, and even if it doesn't match the rest of the outfit.
Vests are always classy and
that's $20 brown vest. Yeah.
Cool. If you could have dinner with any person, living or dead, who would it be?
I'd like to have dinner with Ryan Adams. I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. He seems like a opinionated, intelligent, and again one of my favorite songwriters too. So I'd love to have dinner with him. I think it'd be.
Yeah. And with a jam session.
Yes, I won't mention that though. But if it comes, then I'll secretly record it.
Well, looking towards the future, do you have any plans regarding like future projects? I mean, I know you're still doing some touring for your album, but
yeah, I'm hoping to. Well, I sort of started writing songs for the next album, but it's not a priority to release it. Future. I'm hoping to play more gigs with my band because I've got a really great band right now, the guys that play with me, and I feel like I've wasted sort of last year. Even though I released a record last year, I don't feel like we played enough. So that's my immediate goal anyway, just to have a few more gigs here in Sydney and play a few more shows. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I haven't mentioned that you'd like to bring up or talk about?
People to just go online and check out the music. There's plenty on Facebook and on my website, and on YouTube, and just listen to the song. If you feel inclined, hey, buy it. Actually, support it. But yeah, I just want the music to be heard, as that's why things like this, it's all new. I'm glad we worked out the technology and
yeah. Exactly.
I just want people to hear the music, because that's ultimately what it is for us. We don't. I think if musicians tell you that they only make music for them to hear it, I think it's bullshit. I think you want an audience because you want some sort of reaction to the music, whether it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just want more people to hear the music. Simple, really.
Well, on that note, you can check out Bryan's website at bryanestepa.com. Is that right? Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry?
Yeah, that's right. That's the one. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter, and I've embraced social media, so I'm over it now. So I followed it for a little while, but I'm there now, and I realise it's a good thing for the music anyway, good and bad. Yeah, I'm there. And hopefully I'll get to come to Canada.
We'll be here waiting for you.
My songs got used for Degrassi High.
Sorry?
One of my songs got used for Degrassi Junior High, or Degrassi Junior High.
Oh, yeah. Degrassi is our baby. We love Degrassi.
Yeah, so maybe that's my ticket into Canada one day. I can use that as a calling.
Maybe. Just maybe. But yeah, well, thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, I really appreciate being able to chat with you and meet you. This has been great. So
yeah, thank you.
On that note, have a good day, because it's daytime there and it's nighttime here. So
it's 11:45, and we're right in the middle of that day, so it's gonna be good. Thanks, Melissa.
Enjoy, Bryan.
All right. Okay, so this song's called "Them Fighting Words." It's the current single. On the floor, shove the back of your head, screaming out for more. Instead of all reservations, we return when it's hard versus mine. No one ever learned. Gonna turn my back, you'll be back to front, wearing my shirts inside out. This is what you want, you got it. I'm indecisive. I'm gonna make it. They're fighting words. And every day is a battle, so it seems. What is wrong to you is right for me. Took a chance and it came up second best. A bruised ego and a heart missing off that chest. You'll be back to front, wearing my shirts inside out. If this is what you want, you got it. Make you mad. of the fighting words. And fighting words. Feel loud and you punctuate. Fighting words, they don't wait too late. Made up for you. Got a feeling of deja vu. On a spiral back to you. Whenever through. I know you're ready, but you mean when? I'm an assassin. I'm gonna make you mad. I'm gonna serve you up the fighting bird. Them fighting birds. Them fighting words.
Woo!
That's one.
That was awesome.
Fighting with your partner and realizing you're really not going to win as much as you think you will, but you won't. I'll do another one. This one's called Restless. Used to rule the world with an iron fist. I ain't gonna let go. Tempted by the wrongs that I can't resist. I ain't gonna let go. Tonight, dreaming of peaceful, easy love. Beauty in the man who's lost his will. I ain't gonna let go. I ain't gonna let go. Tonight the world can sleep and we'll be dreaming of a peaceful. I'm a tornado who's lost his way. I ain't gonna let go. Caution to the wind and a gentle sway. I ain't gonna let go. Your lion's far too quiet and me. I ain't gonna let go. This is how it is. I ain't gonna let go.
Woo!
Alright, thank you. Might do a cover. Alright, so this is a cover of a cover of a cover. So it's originally a song by New Order. Then it was done by an Australian band called Frente. But so this was a song in Folk in the Box, and it sort of resonated really well. So I'm gonna try it again, my own little way. So here we go. Every time I think of you, get a shot. Problem of mine, but it's a problem I find. Living a life that I can't leave behind. There's no sense in telling me the wisdom of the fool won't set you free. That's the way that it goes, that's what nobody knows. Every day my confusion grows. Every time I see you falling, I get down on my knees and pray, waiting for that final moment. Say the words that I can say. I feel fine and I feel good. I feel like I never should. think you're what you see. To admit to myself that if I had someone else, I'd never see just what we're meant to be. Every time I see you falling, I get down on my knees and pray, waiting for that final moment. Say the words that I can't say. Every time I see you falling, I get down on my knees and pray, waiting for that final moment. Say the words that I can't say. So that's it.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really appreciate you playing for me today. I really hope that I can hear it live in person sometime. But
That's good. Yeah.
yeah, I can't thank you enough, really. But
Thanks, Melissa. It was good fun.
yeah. All right. Sorry?
And thanks, Curtis, too, for hooking this up. So.
Yes, I will certainly do so. But all right. Cool. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.